There are people who walk through life with a quiet awareness that most cannot comprehend. They move through crowded rooms and feel utterly alone. They speak, and their words carry weight that others don't quite understand. They see beauty where others see ordinary moments, and they carry a kind of ache that has no name. If you've ever felt like you don't quite belong in this world, not because you're broken, but because you're tuned to a different frequency, then perhaps you've glimpsed what it means to carry a rare soul. Thomas Merton once wrote about the contemplative heart, about those who see beyond the veil of the everyday. He spoke of souls who cannot help but seek truth, even when it costs them their peace, even when it sets them apart, even when it makes them strangers in their own lives. This is not about being special. This is about recognition, about understanding why certain things have always felt different for you, why silence speaks louder than words, why you've always sensed there was something more, something deeper, something just beyond the surface of everything. And here's the paradox that no one tells you. Having a rare soul is both a gift and a burden. It's seeing the world in full color, while others see in shades of gray. It's feeling the texture of existence while others skim its surface. It's knowing, deeply knowing, that there are truths most people will never seek. But let's begin where it always begins, in the recognition of what you've always carried. You've always felt a strange comfort in solitude, haven't you? Not because you dislike people, but because silence is where you find yourself. While others fear being alone, you crave it like oxygen. In the quiet, something ancient within you awakens. The noise of the world fades, and you can finally hear the whispers of your own soul. Most people fill every moment with distraction. They cannot sit with themselves for 5 minutes without reaching for their phones, turning on music, calling a friend. But you've discovered that solitude is not emptiness. It's fullness. It's where the deepest conversations happen, the ones between you and the universe, between your heart and the truth it seeks. Merton spent years in silence in a monastery, and he wrote that solitude was not the absence of others, but the presence of something greater. You understand this instinctively. You know that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. In fact, you've found that you can feel lonelier in a crowd than you ever do in silence. This is the first sign. The rare soul seeks solitude not as escape, but as return. Return to what is real. Return to what matters. Return to the self that gets lost in the chaos of daily existence. And here's what most people don't understand. Your need for solitude isn't antisocial. It's sacred. It's how you refuel. It's how you remember who you are beneath all the roles you play, all the masks you wear, all the expectations others place upon you. But there's more. You've noticed something else, haven't you? You feel things with an intensity that sometimes frightens you. When you watch a sunset, you don't just see colors in the sky. You feel the turning of the earth. You sense the vastness of time. You're moved by something you cannot name, something that brings tears to your eyes for reasons you couldn't explain to anyone. When you hear music, it doesn't just please your ears. It enters your body like a memory. Certain melodies can transport you to places you've never been, to feelings you've never named. A single song can make you weep or fill you with inexplicable joy. When you witness suffering, even in strangers, you feel it as if it were your own. You cannot watch the news without carrying the weight of the world's pain. You cannot pass someone sleeping on the street without wondering about their story, their dreams, their moment of breaking. This depth of feeling is the second sign. The rare soul experiences life in high definition while others live in standard resolution. Every emotion is amplified, every experience leaves a mark, every moment contains multitudes. And this is where the burden begins to show itself, because feeling everything so deeply is exhausting. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also overwhelming. You cannot simply experience joy and you're flooded with it. You cannot simply feel sadness. You're consumed by it. The volume of your inner world is always turned up to maximum, and there's no way to turn it down. People tell you you're too sensitive, too emotional, too intense. They say you need to toughen up, grow thicker skin, stop taking everything so personally, but they don't understand that this isn't a choice. You didn't decide to feel this way. You were born with your heart on the outside of your body, vulnerable to every breeze, every sharp word, every subtle shift in the emotional atmosphere. And yet, Would you trade it? Would you choose numbness over this exquisite sensitivity? Most of the time, the answer is no. Because feeling deeply means living fully. It means you're alive in a way that many people never experience. But here's the truth they don't tell you. The world isn't built for people like you. The world rewards efficiency, not depth. It celebrates productivity, not contemplation. It values those who can compartmentalize, who can separate their emotions from their work, who can move through life without being moved by it. And so, you learn to hide. You learn to downplay your feelings. You learn to say, "I'm fine," when you're drowning in sensation. You learn to smile and nod, while internally processing layers of meaning that no one else even noticed. This brings us to the third sign, and it's one that might surprise you. You have an almost uncanny ability to see through people, not in a judgmental way, but in a way that perceives what lies beneath the surface. You see the sadness behind someone's smile. You notice when their laughter doesn't reach their eyes. You sense the fear behind someone's anger, the loneliness behind their arrogance, the pain behind their cruelty. It's as if you have a kind of emotional X-ray vision. You read between the lines of what people say. You pick up on subtle shifts in tone, in body language, in energy. While others take things at face value, you're always sensing the subtext, the unspoken, the hidden. Merton wrote about the contemplative's ability to see truly, to perceive reality without the filters of ego and illusion. You possess this gift whether you asked for it or not. You see people as they are, not as they pretend to be. And this creates a peculiar kind of isolation. Because once you see through the masks, it's hard to participate in the masquerade. Once you recognize that most conversations are superficial, that most interactions are performances, that most people are hiding from themselves, it becomes difficult to engage with the world in the way others do. You sit at dinner parties and feel like an anthropologist observing a strange ritual. You listen to small talk and wonder why no one speaks about anything real. You watch people avoid uncomfortable truths and you want to scream, "Can't you see, can't you feel, don't you wonder what this is all for?" But you don't scream. You smile politely. You make the appropriate noises. You play along because you've learned that speaking these truths makes people uncomfortable. It makes them defensive. It makes them think you're strange or arrogant or trying to be different. So you carry this seeing alone. You carry the knowledge of what you perceive without being able to share it. And this is perhaps the loneliest part of having a rare soul. The fourth sign is closely related. You're drawn to depth in all things. You cannot do shallow. You cannot have surface-level friendships that consist of pleasantries and weather talk. You cannot read books that don't challenge you, watch films that don't move you, listen to music that doesn't transport you. You cannot spend your time on things that don't matter. This isn't snobbery, it's necessity. Your soul hungers for meaning the way the body hungers for food. You need substance. You need truth. You need beauty that breaks you open and puts you back together, changed. When you connect with someone, you want to know who they really are, what keeps them awake at night, what they dream about, what they fear, what they love so much it hurts. You want to skip the small talk and dive into the deep waters where real intimacy lives. But most people aren't ready for that kind of connection. Most people are comfortable in the shallow end. They're not used to being seen so completely. They're not prepared for the intensity of genuine encounter. And so you find yourself again and again pulling back, moderating your depth, pretending to be satisfied with less than what your soul truly craves. You learn to ration your authenticity, giving people only as much as they can handle, keeping the rest locked away. This is exhausting in a way that's hard to explain. It's like being fluent in a language that no one else speaks. You have so much to say, so much to share, but no one understands the words. So you translate yourself constantly into simpler terms. You compress your complexity into digestible pieces. You make yourself smaller, quieter, easier to swallow. And part of you withers in this translation. The fifth sign will resonate deeply if you felt it. You carry an old sadness that has no clear origin. It's not depression exactly, though it can feel similar. It's more like a cosmic homesickness, a sense that you're far from home even when you're in the place you were born, a feeling that you're missing something you can't name, longing for something you can't describe. Merton called it the hidden ground of love. This ache for something transcendent, something whole, something that would finally make sense of this beautiful, terrible world. You've felt this ache since you were young. Maybe as a child you'd look at the stars and feel it. Or you'd be in a moment of perfect happiness and suddenly feel the shadow of its impermanence. This sadness isn't about your life circumstances. You could have everything you're supposed to want and still feel it. Because it's not about what you have. It's about what you sense is missing from the human condition itself. You see the gap between what is and what could be. You see the suffering, the injustice, the unnecessary pain. You see people sleepwalking through their one precious life. You see beauty being destroyed, truth being ignored, love being commodified. And you carry the weight of this seeing. Sometimes this sadness overwhelms you. You look at the world, and you want to weep for all the ways we've lost our way. For all the ways we've forgotten what matters. For all the ways we hurt each other and ourselves. But here's what you might not have realized. This sadness is a form of love. You feel sad because you care. You feel this cosmic ache because you're connected to something larger than yourself. Your sadness is actually your soul's response to being awake in a sleeping world. It's the price of consciousness. It's the cost of caring. And strange as it sounds, this sadness is also a kind of companion. It reminds you that you're alive, that you haven't numbed yourself, that you still feel, still hope, still believe that things could be different. The sixth sign is one you might have tried to suppress. You question everything, not in an aggressive or confrontational way, but in a genuine, seeking way. You can't just accept things because that's how they've always been done. You can't believe something simply because everyone else believes it. Your mind constantly asks, why? What if? Is there another way? You question authority, tradition, convention. Not because you're rebellious, but because you're curious. You want to understand the foundations beneath the beliefs. You want to test the assumptions. You want to know what's true, not just what's accepted. This makes you uncomfortable to be around for many people, because questions are threatening. Questions destabilize. Questions reveal that the emperor has no clothes, that the foundations are shakier than we pretend, that much of what we take for granted is actually quite arbitrary. So people try to shut down your questioning. They call you cynical or difficult or a troublemaker. They tell you to stop overthinking. They say you're making things too complicated. They want you to just accept, just believe, just go along. But you can't. It's not in your nature. Your rare soul demands authenticity, and authenticity requires examination. It requires looking beneath the surface. It requires being willing to be uncertain, to not know, to sit with questions that have no easy answers. Merton himself questioned the structures of his time, the assumptions of his religious tradition, the certainties that others clung to. He understood that true faith, true understanding, required honest doubt, required the courage to ask difficult questions even when the answers might shake everything you thought you knew. And this leads to the seventh sign. You've experienced moments of profound connection to something greater than yourself. Maybe it happened in nature, standing at the edge of an ocean or hiking through ancient forests or watching the stars in a dark sky. Maybe it happened in meditation or prayer or in the depths of grief. Maybe it happened unexpectedly, in the middle of an ordinary moment that suddenly became extraordinary. In these moments, the boundaries of yourself dissolved. You felt connected to everything, part of something vast and mysterious and beautiful. Time seemed to stop or expand or lose meaning altogether. You knew with a certainty deeper than thought that there's more to existence than what we can see and touch and measure. These experiences changed you. They showed you that reality is larger and stranger, and more wonderful than our everyday awareness suggests. They gave you a glimpse behind the curtain, a taste of something transcendent. And now you carry this knowing. You can't unknow it. You can't pretend that the material world is all there is. You can't reduce life to the mechanistic, the pragmatic, the purely rational. This puts you at odds with a culture that values only what can be quantified, proven, controlled. Fair culture that dismisses mystery as superstition, that treats spiritual experiences as delusion or brain chemistry, that wants to explain away everything that doesn't fit into its narrow paradigm. But you know better. You've been there. You've felt it. And no amount of skepticism or scientific reductionism can erase what you've experienced. The eighth and final sign is perhaps the most important. Despite everything, despite the loneliness and the burden and the sadness, you haven't lost your capacity for wonder. You still find magic in small things. A bird's song, the way light falls through leaves, a stranger's kindness, a child's laughter, a moment of true connection, the first snow, the smell of rain, the taste of something delicious, the touch of someone you love. You still believe, against all evidence, that beauty matters. That love is real, that there's meaning to be found, purpose to be lived, truth to be sought. You haven't become cynical, even though you have every reason to be. You haven't hardened your heart, even though it would hurt less. You haven't given up on humanity, even though humanity gives you plenty of reasons to. This is the ultimate sign of a rare soul. You remain soft in a hard world. You remain open in a closed world. You remain hopeful in a world that often feels hopeless. And here's what you need to understand. This is not naivety. This is not weakness. This is the strongest thing about you. To stay tender when life has given you reason to armor up, that takes immense courage. To keep feeling deeply when you've been hurt by your sensitivity, that takes tremendous strength. To continue seeking meaning when meaninglessness seems easier, that takes profound faith. You are not broken for being this way. You are not too much. You are not wrong for seeing what you see, feeling what you feel, questioning what you question, longing for what you long for. You have a rare soul, and the world needs you exactly as you are. Because here's the truth. The world is full of people going through the motions. People who've forgotten how to wonder. People who've traded their depth for comfort, their authenticity for acceptance, their questions for easy answers. The world needs people who still feel, who still care, who still see, who still ask, who still hope. The world needs contemplatives and seekers and sensitives and souls who refuse to sleepwalk through this one magnificent life. Merton spent his life in a monastery, but his words reached millions. Why? Because he spoke from the rare soul's perspective. He articulated what many feel but cannot express. He validated the experience of those who see differently, feel differently, live differently. And in doing so, he showed that being different isn't a flaw. It's a calling. Your sensitivity is not a weakness to overcome. It's a gift to develop. Your depth is not a burden to carry. It's a well to draw from. Your questions are not problems to solve. They're invitations to grow. Your loneliness is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're looking for connection at a level most people don't even know exists. And yes, there will be times when it all feels like too much, when you want to shut it off to be normal, to fit in, to not feel everything so intensely, when you envy those who seem to glide through life unburdened by the weight of consciousness. In those moments, remember this. You can't unfeel what you felt. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you know, trying to make yourself smaller, duller, less sensitive. It won't work. It will only create suffering of a different kind. Instead, the path forward is to embrace it, to accept that you have a rare soul and to learn how to live with it, not despite it. This means setting boundaries with a world that would drain you dry. It means protecting your energy, your solitude, your sacred space. It means choosing carefully who you let into your inner world. It means saying no to shallow connections and superficial demands. This means finding your tribe, however small. The other rare souls who understand, who see you, who don't require you to translate yourself. They're out there, scattered and searching just like you. When you find them, hold on to them. These connections are precious beyond measure. This means creating beauty, expressing truth, living authentically. Whether through art or service or simply the way you move through the world, let your rare soul shape your life. Don't hide it. Don't apologize for it. Let it be the compass that guides your choices. This means developing practices that sustain you. Meditation, nature, creativity, solitude, prayer. Whatever helps you stay connected to that deeper source. Whatever helps you process the intensity of your experience. Whatever helps you remember who you are. And this means being gentle with yourself. You're carrying something that most people don't have to carry. You're navigating a path that has no map. You're living at a depth that requires constant adjustment, constant recalibration, constant care. Some days you'll feel like you're thriving in this depth. Other days you'll feel like you're drowning in it. Both are okay. Both are part of the journey. Thomas Merton wrote, "The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves and not to twist them to fit our own image. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them." Apply this to yourself. Let yourself be perfectly yourself. Don't twist yourself to fit the world's image of who you should be. Love the rare soul you are, with all its gifts and all its burdens. Because in the end, the world doesn't need more people pretending to be something they're not. The world needs authentic souls. It needs people who feel deeply, think clearly, see truly, question bravely, and love fully. It needs you. Not a smaller version of you, not a quieter, easier, more palatable version of you. It needs you in all your strange, intense, sensitive, questioning glory. The rare soul is not a curse. It's not a diagnosis. It's not something to fix or overcome or apologize for. It's who you are. It's how you're wired. It's your unique way of engaging with this mysterious, beautiful, heartbreaking world. And while it may set you apart, while it may make you feel alone, while it may cost you the comfort of fitting in, it also gives you something that most people never find. It gives you the ability to live deeply, to love fully, to see clearly, to question honestly, to feel authentically, to connect profoundly. It gives you the chance to be fully alive. And in a world where so many people are merely existing, sleepwalking through their days, going through the motions, being fully alive is the rarest and most precious thing. So if you recognize yourself in these signs, know this: you are not alone. There are others like you, scattered across this world, each carrying their own rare soul, each feeling that same beautiful ache, each seeing what others miss. You are part of an invisible community of seekers and feelers and questioners, a lineage of contemplatives and mystics and artists and truth-tellers who've always existed on the margins, who've always seen differently, who've always known there's more. And your presence in this world matters more than you know. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, you give others permission to do the same. Every time you speak a truth that others are afraid to voice, you crack open a space for honesty. Every time you honor your depth instead of hiding it, you remind the world that there are other ways to be. You are not here to be normal. You are here to be you, rare soul and all. And that is more than enough. That is everything. But let's sit with this a moment longer, because there's something else that needs to be said. Something about the practical reality of carrying a rare soul in a world that doesn't always understand it. You see, knowing you have a rare soul doesn't make the loneliness disappear. It doesn't make social situations easier. It doesn't make you immune to doubt or pain or the aching feeling that you're fundamentally different from most people you encounter. What it does do is give you a framework for understanding your experience. It helps you stop pathologizing your depth, stop apologizing for your sensitivity, stop trying to fix what was never broken in the first place. There will still be moments when you wonder if something is wrong with you. When you're at a party, and everyone else seems to be having fun, and you're standing there feeling like you're watching from behind glass. When you're in a conversation that feels empty, and you're counting the minutes until you can leave. When you're exhausted from pretending to be interested in things that bore your soul. In those moments you might think, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too intense, too serious, too much. Maybe I should just learn to enjoy simple things, to stop overthinking, to be more like everyone else. But here's what you need to remember. The problem isn't that you're too much. The problem is that you're in the wrong contexts, around the wrong people, engaging with the wrong things. A fish doesn't thrive in the desert. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with the fish. It means it's in the wrong environment. Your rare soul needs certain conditions to flourish. It needs depth, authenticity, meaning, beauty, truth. When you're surrounded by superficiality, forced into shallow interactions, trapped in meaningless routines, of course you wilt. Anyone would. The key is to stop trying to adapt yourself to environments that were never meant for you. Stop forcing yourself to fit into molds that were designed for different shapes. Stop apologizing for needing what you need. Instead, create your life intentionally. Choose your environments carefully. Seek out the spaces where depth is welcomed, where authenticity is valued, where your kind of soul can breathe. This might mean you have fewer friends, but the ones you have will be true. It might mean you spend more time alone, but that time will nourish you rather than drain you. It might mean your life looks different from what society says it should look like, but it will be yours, genuinely yours. And here's something else to understand. Your rare soul didn't just happen by accident. It developed for a reason, perhaps through early experiences that forced you to look deeper, to feel more, to question what others accepted. Perhaps through pain that broke you open and showed you layers of reality that remain hidden to those who've never been broken. Perhaps through moments of beauty that awakened something in you that could never go back to sleep. However it came to be, it's yours now. And it comes with both privileges and responsibilities. The privilege is this: you get to experience life in high definition. You get to taste flavors that others miss. You get to see colors that others are blind to. You get to feel connections that others don't even know exist. You get to participate in existence at a level of intensity and awareness that is rare and precious. The responsibility is this: you have to learn how to steward this gift wisely. You have to learn how to protect your energy without closing your heart. You have to learn how to engage deeply without losing yourself. You have to learn how to honor your sensitivity while still functioning in a world that often feels too harsh, too loud, too much. This is the work of a lifetime. Learning how to be a rare soul in an ordinary world. Learning how to stay open without being overwhelmed. Learning how to connect without depleting yourself. Learning how to give from your depth without giving yourself away. And the truth is, no one can teach you exactly how to do this, because your rare soul is unique. What works for one sensitive person might not work for another. What sustains one contemplative might exhaust another. You have to discover your own path, your own practices, your own ways of being. But here are some things that might help along the way. First, learn to distinguish between solitude and isolation. Solitude is chosen, restorative, nourishing. It's time you spend with yourself to reconnect, to process, to rest. Isolation is forced, painful, lonely. It's the feeling of being cut off, unseen, disconnected. You need solitude, you don't need isolation. Second, find ways to express what you experience, whether through writing, art, music, movement, or conversation with trusted others. Find outlets for the intensity within you. Your feelings and perceptions need somewhere to go. If they stay trapped inside, they become toxic. When they're expressed, they become transformative. Third, cultivate discernment about who gets access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves to see your depth. Not everyone can handle your intensity. Not everyone will appreciate your sensitivity. Be selective. Be protective. Your rare soul is precious, and you get to decide who gets to witness it. Fourth, develop practices that help you stay grounded. When you're living at the level of depth and intensity that you do, it's easy to become unmoored, to drift into overwhelm, to lose your center. You need anchors, things that bring you back to your body, to the present moment, to the simple reality of breath and heartbeat and earth beneath your feet. Fifth, remember that you're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to say no to things that drain you. You're allowed to leave situations that feel wrong. You're allowed to protect your energy, your time, your peace. This isn't selfish. This is survival. This is how you stay intact in a world that would fragment you if you let it. And perhaps most importantly, be patient with yourself. You're navigating something that most people never have to navigate. You're carrying something that most people never have to carry. You're learning how to live in a way that has no instruction manual, no clear roadmap, no guaranteed outcomes. Some days you'll do it well. You'll feel aligned, connected, alive in the best possible way. Other days you'll struggle. You'll feel lost, overwhelmed, unsure if you can keep doing this. Both kinds of days are part of the journey. Both are necessary. Both teach you something about who you are and how to live as yourself. Thomas Merton wrote extensively about the contemplative journey, about the path of those who seek deeper truth. And one thing he emphasized again and again: it's not a path to perfection, it's a path to authenticity. It's about becoming more fully yourself, not becoming some idealized version of what a spiritual person should be. Your rare soul doesn't make you better than anyone else. It doesn't make you more evolved or more enlightened or more worthy. It just makes you different. And different comes with its own joys and its own challenges. The joy is in the depth, the beauty, the meaning, the connection. The challenge is in the loneliness, the overwhelm, the feeling of being misunderstood. You can't have one without the other. They're woven together, inseparable, two sides of the same gift. So walk gently with your sensitivity. Honor your need for solitude. Trust your ability to see beneath surfaces. Embrace your hunger for depth. Acknowledge your sacred sadness. Continue your questioning. Remember your moments of transcendence. Protect your wonder. Live from the rare soul you carry. Let it guide you, let it shape you, let it be the light you offer to a world that desperately needs more people willing to see, to feel, to question, to hope. Because here's the final truth, the one that matters most. In a world that often feels numb, disconnected, lost in distraction and superficiality, your rare soul is not a liability. It's exactly what we need. We need people who still feel deeply, who still care profoundly, who still see clearly, who still question honestly, who still hope courageously. We need people who refuse to sleepwalk, who refuse to accept easy answers, who refuse to trade their authenticity for comfort. We need rare souls like yours, living out loud, staying soft in hard places, keeping their hearts open even when it hurts. You are exactly what this world needs, not a watered-down version of you, not a more palatable, easier to digest version of you. The real you, with all your intensity and depth and sensitivity and strangeness, that's who the world needs. That's who you were always meant to be, and you always have been.